Next up, we have Ebaster, aka a Bastard, which is a support character given 2-star rating. His first ability, Fire Lash, is a magic attack. His second ability, Bloody Rage, is an AoE damage plus buff for your allies within 50 feet, which also stacks. So it's 1.5k attack, and it stacks up to 3, I believe, or maybe 5. I don't know, but it stacks. His third ability, Hellfire, is an AoE damage plus the 50k debuff. Ebaster overall is a decent support that boosts allies' attacks and has the 50k debuff, making him a decent member to have on your team. Next up is Gililume, Gililume, whatever you want to call him. He is a melee slash support character with a 1-star rating. His first ability is a physical attack. Second ability, Hook Claw, is an AoE damage plus disarm. Now this disarm means melee opponents' attacks will only do 0 damage for 6 seconds. His third ability, Battle Terror, is a debuff that minuses opponent's core stats minus 10% and it removes enemy buffs. Now, he's a pretty crappy character. The only thing good about him is his disarm and the removing opponent's buffs. Other than that, his minus 10% core stats is not really that impressive, and his damage is crappy, and his cooldown on his first attack is tremendously bad, so you're going to auto attack. You're going to be right clicking the opponent to do damage, and that's why he's 1-star. Next up, we have GunRX79, being a support caster with a 1-star rating. His first ability, Devouring Dark, is a magic attack. Second ability, Turbine Burst, is a AoE damage plus 50k debuff. His third ability, Dark Snare, is just an AoE damage. So he's a crappy character. The only thing good about him is his 50k debuff, otherwise he would be utterly useless. Here we are at Herak, my personal favorite. No, just kidding. He's actually the worst monster you can have in the game. His first ability, Slam, is a physical attack that also applies the debuff, which minuses the opponent's defense by 3.3k. His second ability, Collapsing Blow, is an attack plus debuff, which minuses your opponent's block and parry by 118. His third ability, Earthquake, is an AoE damage plus stun for 5 seconds. Now, you're reading that right. I have actually given him half a star for my rating. He is the worst monster you can have, but what do you expect since he's actually the first boss in the game? And I would actually give him 0 stars, but I'm trying to be nice so he doesn't cry, because I mean he looks like a crybaby. Anyway, if you're Herak, you might as well take your weapon off and just die, because you're not going to kill anything and you're not useful to your team at all. The only thing good about you is your Earthquake, so you might as well just take your weapon off and die. Hopefully you'll get a better monster next round, maybe the next match. And yeah, Herak sucks. QQ baby, QQ. Next up we have Jinny, aka the Big Slug, aka Big Bertha. Is a melee and support character which I have given the 1-star rating. Her first ability, Bloody Attack, is a physical attack that has a 50% chance to deal double damage. Or I shouldn't say double damage, deal damage twice. Your second ability, Rancid Plague, is an AoE damage plus 30k debuff. This was the debuff I was talking about with Bayard and the debuff in the beginning. So if you apply that on your opponent, stand still and let them hit you, you'll get healed. Your third ability, Tangled Web, is an AoE damage and stun for 5 seconds. So Jinny is pretty bad, but she has a 5-second stun and the 30k debuff, and occasionally her first ability will double hit. So I still give her 1 star, you know. Jinny, you're bad, go cry. Next up we have Jiro, or Gyro, whatever you want to call him, the dragon. Now you think a dragon would be badass, right? But you're wrong. He's not. He's crappy. I give him 1 star. He's a melee and support character. His first ability, Swift Attack, is a physical attack. His second ability, Cell Activation, is a heal plus buff. The buff gives you attack speed plus 200% for 8 seconds. Your third ability, Flame Touch, is an AoE damage. So, as you can tell, he doesn't really have anything. All he has is a heal and buff. Nothing else does anything at all. You're not very useful to the team, you stupid dragon. Go kill yourself. You only have 1 star. Next up, we have Juan, the pride of the frog people. He's a melee attacker given 3 stars. His first ability, Bloody Attack, is a physical attack, and it has a 50% chance to deal damage to the enemy twice, just like Jiro. What the hell am I saying? Not like Jiro, like Jinny. My bad. Anyway, his second ability, Deadly Spin, is an AoE damage and stun for 5 seconds. His third ability, and most important, Threatening Roar, is a self-attack buff which stacks to 5. Each stack increases your attack by 3.2k damage. In total, if you get it to 5 stacks, it will be 16k bonus damage. I have a typo there, but you know. Yeah. Anyway, you should always have that ability third. You should always have ability 3 stacked to 5. There's no excuse to losing it. The only reason you should lose it is if you're stunned or sleeped and you lose it. That's the only reason why. Other than that, use your stun properly and wreak havoc, or wreak havoc if you will, on your opposing team with Juan. Here we are at Keytek, another melee / crap character who I have given 1 star. His first ability, Swift Attack, is a physical attack. Second ability, Bleeding Gash, is a dot. Now, this dot is absolutely useless. Like, I don't know what they were thinking when they put this in the game, but I mean, read this. 2.2k damage every 2 seconds. Now, if you divide that, that's 1.1k damage per second. So, over 12 seconds, the opponent is going to get 12k damage. Now, even at the lowest level of Monster Arena that you can enter at level 30, your team has 300k health. So that means you would have to keep this this dot on for 300 seconds to kill an opponent. So, as you can tell, that's highly unlikely. This is a very useless ability. Don't ever use it. Third ability, Fatal Wound, is an AoE damage plus 50k debuff. And that's the only good thing Ketak has. Never use your dot. Absolutely useless. You'll be wasting attack and guarantee your team a loss. Almost, always. He sucks. He's terrible. 50k debuff is the only good thing about Ketak. His first attack, however, does some decent damage, and but he's still pretty weak and not very valuable to the team. Next up, we have Miller, which is an attacker. He's also one of my favorites. I've given him 3 stars. His first ability, Fire Lash, is a magic attack. His second ability, Roar of Destruction, is a AoE damage plus debuff, which minuses your opponent's HP by 35%. Thrill of Battle is your third ability, which is a heal and buff. The buff is 3.1k attack and 10% attack speed. This stacks to 5. Now, Miller may not seem amazing, but he has easily become one of my favorites thanks to his self-heal that heals a lot, which heals 50k by the way, along with the buff that increases his damage. His attacks are decently powered, and he also has that 35% debuff as well. Miller is definitely a force to be reckoned with, especially when his third ability stacks up to 5. Next up on the list is Mori. And whenever I type his name, I end up saying Mori. I keep adding an O at the end. Anyway, Mushroom Man, Mario Brothers boy, whatever nickname you want to give him. He is the best support in the game by far. I've given him 3 stars for that. First ability, Destructive Blow, is a physical attack that also applies a debuff, which means the next attack will be twice the damage. Second ability, Gas Spore, is an AoE damage plus debuff, and it minuses the opponent's defense minus 100%. Third ability, Swipe, is an AoE damage plus skill block for 5 seconds. Special note, best supporter in the game easily by far. His debuffs are all great. 2 times damage, 100% defense, and skill block. Utilize all your abilities well, and you can easily bring your team a victory, no problem. Next up, No Heart. He is an attacker with 2-star rating. His first ability, Art of Darkness, is a magic attack with a 1-second cooldown. Now that is tied with Dana. They are the quickest attackers in the game, but No Heart's damage actually is a little bit more than Dana's. So he beats her in the first ability area. Second ability, Bleak Nightmare, an AoE damage plus dot. Now this dot is only 801 damage over 12 seconds. So what is that, honestly? And it can stack, but you know what? That's 1.6k at 2 stacks and 2.4k at 3 stacks. It's not very useful still, so don't ever use that ability. Third ability, Filthy, a pretty cool name. is a AoE damage and 50k debuff. Note about No Heart, he just barely falls short of my 3-star rating. He attacks as fast as Dana, but he does more damage, so due to his strong attack with that very quick 1-second cooldown and his 50k debuff, he earns a solid 2 stars, just under 3.